There's a saying in Egyptian.
In Egyptian?
Yeah. Everybody sleeps in the comfortable position that they like. So everybody sleeps in everybody sleep in a position that they like. So I can't tell you turn around this way and you will sleep better.
Only you know what's comfortable. To you.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Man, I think that's a good way to start this podcast off.
Oh, cool.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, by the way, man. I appreciate you coming in.
Nah, thanks.
I'm really excited to have this conversation with you because I've seen a little bit of your work and what you've been working on, but I'm really excited to hear more about it and how you even got into any of this, because it seems like you got a pretty awesome story.
I feel I do have like a pretty interesting story, and also the way I see the world from my own perspective. It's pretty like powerful and different. And at the same time, it comes with a greater responsibility, not just for me or my family or the community that I live in. I feel like I owe responsibility to Australia and the Australian system, not Australian people. And if I owe the indigenous people of this nation a lot, because this land hasn't been resolved yet, and every year there's new topics, but what the indigenous people want is just basic human right, and that's about it. So this by itself is an interesting story that I became part of, and I owe responsibility to it. But I haven't got there yet for me to have a proper conversation to the people of this land, but also to the system that is actually making this land a wonderful country for people to visit, for people to immigrate, for people to live in, for people to study, for people to work, and for people to do silly stuff as well sometimes that I really, get mad about people who are bringing their cultural belief, cultural values, and try to diminish an image of their community, but also image of Australia. And the people that I'm talking to, they know who they are.
They know who they are?
Yeah.
Why do you feel like you have a responsibility to the system that's here?
First of all, English is not my first language. I speak multiple languages. So Denka, which is the South Sudanese part tribal language, and Arabic, of course, like in Egypt, they speak Arabic, and then in Middle East as well, like the whole Middle East. I can understand them and they can understand me. And then now coming to Australia and then try to adapt to a new language, and for me to be able to think carefully and have like a thought process and a strategy for me to be able to communicate with people who know English, speak it, write it, sometime, put it in the media,
Yeah.
And then those responsibilities, it's for me as a writer, as a creator. How will I write those stories? Because I don't have the right to write those stories, but I can have a conversation about it, and that's about it. But I know I can actually write those stories and make it from my own perspective. But what happened, the Australian film and television don't have a space for people of color to be able to, create their own story, let alone other people's story. So that responsibility sits, underneath a huge rock that you can't move it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna still try to write each word, and and when the time comes, I'll make that one story that hopefully will unify us.
Because it's difficult. I don't know much about the film and TV industry in Australia, and I especially I don't know what it takes to be able to break into that space and be able to create in that space. How does that even happen? How do you begin to be able to create a nationally broadcasted TV show? How do you get into that?
I don't know. To be honest,
It's like a club.
yeah, it's like a club. It's like a what is it? A swimming pool. You know, you gotta have a membership. You know, to enter. You know what I mean? No, I think. Well, I have like two perspectives of this. Yeah, the Australian way and the African way. So the Australian,
Tell me.
yeah. So the Australian way, you go to high school, you finish high school, you go to university, and then your cousin or your mate father who his cousin works in film and TV, you know, just give him a word, and then tomorrow you'll be there for like 15 years.
Yeah.
You know. And then for an African kid, and I'm speaking about myself now. So when I broke into film and TV, I think it was nobody was looking for African story at all. You know, I was the one who usually carried the camera around and tried to photographs and films. And African people, they think that I was just a tourist. You know, but I keep saying that those cameras will preserve our story. Those cameras would preserve our identity. Those cameras would preserve our voices. Those cameras would preserve our images. At that time, nobody understood at all. So I tried my best to do recording studio, and then got involved in theater company, got involved in writing music, rapping, poetry. And while that is happening, I was mentoring other people as well. So Epnuk, who's an amazing poet, one day I just did a poetry video. It's called What's Land? So it's about
What's land?
Yeah, What's Land is about the indigenous.
Okay.
What's Land is this? Sorry, it's about the indigenous. You know, at the time I didn't understand, but you know, we filmed it black and white. We put it up on YouTube, and then before you know it, SBS, you know, contacted him, and they wanted him in a documentary called "Living with the Enemy." So basically, living with the enemy, you live with someone from a different cultural background and cultural belief, and then you do something called the cultural exchange. So you stay in their house and live like they live.
Oh, really?
And they come and stay with you in your house and how you live. And then you see like two different views. And then they did that documentary, and I told the producer, hey, you know, I've been helping out all this time. You know?
Yeah.
How you get into film and TV. And luckily I was lucky enough to get a contact to work at MasterChef. And then that's how I broke into film industry. So sometimes, you know, you don't have to look as far. Sometimes you just have to be true to your creativity and let the industry come to you. And you don't have to fight to get there.
So you just had to keep showing up, helping out until eventually an opportunity was presented to you.
Yeah. And I was just doing it very genuinely as well.
So there's seems like I've always thought about it and thought that there's so many different kind of ways, different paths to be able to break into the film industry. There isn't a specific like template that you can just follow to get in. It's all like having to know somebody.
Yeah. Get to know somebody. And then in regarding like the templates, you know, from, from the script writing to writer's room, to pre-production, to auditioning, to location management,
So there's a lot of different jobs
Yeah,
that exist.
safety. You just name it. Camera department. Art department. So this a lot. So basically, just like small little university. You're trying to build a small little university in a pretty short time, and then you have to have like people that know their job properly, and again, they want to be part of the story, part of the journey, not just there to have the title, and that's about it. So yeah, so it's a big industry,
So when you started out in this industry, what were you doing specifically? Like, what were your jobs when you were working on these projects?
Well, so at MasterChef, I started as a runner.
A runner?
Yeah, a runner. So someone that brings coffee, do script printing, scheduling, sometimes sit in front of computer and pretend that you're doing work. And traveling, a lot of driving from A to B, just moving talent. So actually it's an important role. It's like small, it's crew. You know what I mean? That's, that you can hold, for instance, this mic. If I take this screw out, it would fall down. So the runner is just like that. You know what I mean?
Fixing all the...
Yeah, fixing.
when stuff needs to happen.
Yeah. And also you've got like an amazing view of every department, and you've got an access to talent, to directors, to writers, big producers, and you have time to ask questions, to be able to refine your dream, refine your purpose, because those people know, because they've been there for the longest, and you as a newcomer, as a runner, you just don't need to just jump in the camera straight away and think that you know it all. You know what I mean?
So you can start there and begin working your way up and trying out different skills, things like that.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah. And then what you said you worked on MasterChef.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to work at MasterChef for like about 4 or 5 seasons, and it was good. Like I've learned a lot, as I said before, from just me being a runner, all the way to the art department, to food department, to camera department, story, and then come back down to producing, and then see it, and then from far away, just what I mean by far away, just step down, not to be involved in the industry, but just step down, take leave, and see if this is actually making sense for you.
Yeah.
And then when I did that, and I'm like, oh, actually, I think there's more to the story than this. So that's when I kind of like went for traveling, came back, and somehow I got involved with Sunshine on SBS, like the first South Sudanese African story to be aired on Australian national TV ever, and that is a history. You know what I mean? That is history. Again, that it has like a different learning.
Was that filmed in Melbourne?
Yeah, filmed in Melbourne, Sunshine. Yeah, mostly Sunshine area.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a beautiful experience as well, because it wasn't just me alone. We had like cast members who were in front of the screen, as well as people working behind the scene, and me just seeing that, and I'm like, wow. That's amazing, because at that moment it wasn't just about me anymore. It's about all of us. And if Australian people think that we different, now we need each other. You know what I mean? Whether it's negative or positive, somehow we need each other. Just like a car battery, there's a plus and a minus. You plug it in, boom, it give you that light.
Right on. Yeah, got to work together.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, man, because like prior to coming in here and the chats that we've had before this, you were telling me a little bit about, I guess, why you want to begin taking all these skills that you've got and creating more cultural awareness and things like that through film and through art, through creativity. I'm really interested to just get a better understanding of your story from I guess when you were younger, because it sounds like to me that story has created so much of how you want to represent it in Australia now, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Take me back.
I'm Ez, Yeah. I was born in a small little village called Awil. Yeah, that's in southern Sudan, the newest nation in the whole continent of Africa and also in the world. So my mom and my dad, they were married and they were happy. But during 1988, the war broke out. And that time, that's when I was born. Just a week, the war broke out. And mom story was her and so many other mothers who, they was running for safety. They didn't know where to go. But in the midst of chaos, everybody can be a leader. But it depends on who will follow that path. And as everybody's scattered, as everybody's shouting, there's only one voice of a man said that we're going to head to the north. And then all of these powerful women, including my mom, they follow that voice. And along the way, they encounter a lot of, a lot of hardship, from them walking, no water, no food, militia. What I mean is just like the gangster army, who just want to rob people that literally just ran out of war, tried to make it to a safer place, and then all of those little kids, including myself, not hearing those sounds, but at the time when my mom told me that I used to scream very, very loud and crying, like I don't know why. It's just the pain of that little innocent child who just want warmth, and that's all I needed. But due to uneducated people who grasp into a weak idea of someone else to create a weapon and just hold that, and you not having a manual to use it, but just to kill innocent people, try to take something called the leadership, which is not true at all. And what's happening in Gaza at the moment, when I was born, it was happening, and it carried on. And when we went to Khartoum, Northern Sudan, mom again believing in God and protecting her, as well as all the other people that were in the same journey. They had to come to a safer city, even though we know the northern government was killing the southern people, just because of the color of the skin and the religion. And what the southern people want, it was just, let's live together. You can believe in your religion, but just let us live. And that's all we wanted. So in 1993, I'll skip that part because that's my mom's story. But in 1993, when I was 5, that's when the whole world just kind of like opened up. Now I'm just like, oh, where I'm at, and what is this building, and why are we here?
All the big questions.
Yeah, and who am I, and who is this woman here telling me what to do? That time I remember very vividly that it was gray, warm, very hot, and misty, and then those brick wall, which is I found out later on, it was the house that we lived in. Well, I need to get out of here. It was like our beautiful home. It was safe. It was like 1 bedroom, kitchen, and I remember in the other side there was like huge lounge room, big backyard, and then next to us we had a mosque. And then on our left hand side we had like a small little shop equivalent to 7-Eleven here.
Yeah. So is this in North Sudan?
Yeah, that was in Northern Sudan.
Okay.
And so that's when I went to school. That's when I had like the first fight. That's when I saw like the first fly trying to get into my face. This when I learned care, love. This when I learned about sport. So everything that is me now, I learned it there. Yeah, but those memories are buried there because that place I can't really visit it anymore. Yeah, but I can only speak about it.
And so, how old were you when you moved to Australia?
I was 14, turning 15. That was a difficult age.
Yeah, that's a wild time to move.
Just thinking back at the moment, there's a lot going on in my head. I'm like, where should I begin? But
of course, we can unpack it.
Yeah. So when me and my family came to Australia as an immigrant, again looking for a better life, I came to Australia when I was 14, turning 15. Challenging time. And for me, all I had in my head was to learn English and also preserve my language. And the last, it was just to make my mind proud in whatever that I do in life. But I have to be successful even though I knew exactly what I wanted to do. But that, just to make my mom proud, it was that. And then I went to language school, and somehow I started picking up English words here and there. All I knew was like T and TV. I think I told you that before. Yeah, it was T and TV. And then from T and TV to congratulations, theater, me writing raps, to poetry, to a whole script, to reading magazines. I don't like to read books, man, but when I find like a good book, I read it.
You like it?
Yeah. So that's how I found myself just rolling with the punches. But again, I'm not saying that it's easy. It was difficult. We encounter racism, we encounter police brutality as young teenager who just want to figure out life, because we didn't have any facility apart from like the theater place and the youth center. And the youth center closes early, like 5
o'clock or something. Yeah.
And then where should we go after that? There's no space for us, so we just go and hang out at the park, perfecting our craft, which is theater and music and rap at the same time. And I think we were different from the other generation now that come up, but that time we were just having fun, trying to figure out this misty world with 3 perspectives, like the South Sudanese, the Egyptian, and the Australian perspective, and then all of that, trying to live happily in this country that comes in with systemic racism. It was pretty difficult.
It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
When you moved to Australia, did you want to move here?
Nobody asked me that question before. Not really, but I heard about Australia in 1994.
Yeah.
Like we're still in Sudan at the time. And I'm just got to share this story. It's really good. So mom, when she, okay, so let me go back a little bit.
All good, man. All good.
So mom, she was lucky, she was working at the bank after coming from, sorry, let me go back. So when we came to Khartoum and her separating from my dad and all of her family, just leaving all of her family behind and just having me and her as a young mom trying to figure out this misty world with difficulties and war, famine at the time, and not having only God in the middle. And when she found herself in the city, Khartoum, she was lying near the bank. And then an amazing man who was going to Saudi Arabia to a place called El Hajj. And Hajj, you do it after Ramadan. So you go there like a I can't say the word, pilgrimage.
Oh, pilgrimage?
Yeah. So he went there. And he was going there and then told mom, look, can you look after my house? I'm going to go to Saudi Arabia and I'll be back in 40 days.
Yeah.
And then mom, came to his house, and that's the house that I shared earlier. And then we stayed there until 1994. And mom, she was working, making a little bit of money here and there. And one time she made a lot of money. And she's like, Ez, I want you to go to the shop to go and get Australian flour. I'm like, Australian flour? What's that? What is Australian flour? It's like, the white flour.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool, sir. I went to the shop, got the white flour, came home, and then she made this beautiful African dish. It's like okra with lamb stew.
Oh, yeah.
And then with Australian flour. So you put it in the hot water, and then you mix it, and you make it like a sticky dough.
Okay,
and then you eat that. It's amazing. That was healthiest food ever. Man, I'm like, where did you have this flour from? But it tastes so good. That's the first time I heard about Australia. And to me, back to your question, I didn't want to come to Australia at all. I didn't want to come to Australia because I heard that it was empty. I heard there was a lot of sheep and kangaroo, and that's about it. I was like, no, I want to go to a place where there's a soccer field. I want to go to the army in the USA. That's all. At the time. But yeah, sorry, it's a long story, but yeah.
Not at all. So you thought it was just nothing here?
Nothing at all. Nothing. Like, yeah, even seeing it in a magazine, it was just a little park, a young lady just reading books. And I'm like, nah, that place is nothing. And then it shows a kangaroo with a little kangaroo looking at the camera. I'm like, just like, I don't want to go to the empty place. So if I knew sorry, this is funny, but if I knew there were like black people here,
yeah,
at that time, yeah, I would love to. I would have come with an open mind, literally try to settle and follow the rules and regulation about the country. But we were just brought in without any manual. So now we need to figure out this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure out a whole new society.
Yeah.
And then you arrived here. Were you surprised once you arrived?
All right, cool. So 2004, we arrived. It was in the middle of the night. It was raining. The airport looked decent. We walked out. I thought there were like a lot of people, but it was like my uncle and a few other people and 2 cars. We were like, wow, where's everybody? They're like, this is us. I'm like, oh, awesome. So we just jumped in the car. As we were driving, I think Western Ring Road, going to Sunshine at the time. And yeah, it was empty. Again, the freeway was empty, pretty nice, easy drive, no bump in the road. And I'm like, nah, this is not going to be fun at all. Nothing. And it was too bright. And I'm like, why are they wasting energy? You know what I mean? You
like
know?
lights everywhere.
Yeah, lights everywhere. I'm like, why are they wasting energy? There's nobody in the street. So we got to the house again. It was empty. But I was fascinated about the Australian TV now. Just like, wow, white folks in the TV, they made it. Oh, yeah. Oh man, Australia. Yeah.
So when you arrived here, were you learning like a lot of your English from watching just TV, or did you go to school specifically to learn that? Because I've heard a lot of people where English isn't their first language, just arriving and learning everything from like one TV show or something like that.
I went to a language school and I was they call it grade 3. I don't know why they call it grade 3. Like I couldn't even like write my name, you know? Yeah, so I was in grade 3. I forgot the teacher's name, but she was amazing, you know, was helping all of the new refugee kids to learn English very slowly. But in that classroom, you had people who spoke English really well, and then you had people who were really angry and they have like a lot of swearing words, and me just sitting at the back trying to listen and observe and learn. And the first thing that I wanted, it was just my name, and I want to write the address just in case I get lost. And then I show someone like, okay, this is the address. You know, can you direct me to go there? Those are not the words, but just the address. And that's all I wanted. So 2 weeks in, the teacher said that now we need to learn to write about journal. And at that time, only just the date. I would just write the date, and then that's about it. And then one day that I think I was given detention for no reason and no explanation. Even if there was an explanation, how would I understand? You know, and yeah. So I was just given a detention. I was just there trying to figure it out, and then I got really pissed off, and I'm like, this it's not gonna happen. I don't want someone to just talk at me and not explaining exactly what they're saying. You know, I need to be able to talk back, to articulate myself, my feelings. I'm dying over here. I'm bottling all of this, and I feel like you are attacking me at the moment. You know, just give me some room. But again, I couldn't express that. You know, but my emotion it shows something completely different to the teachers. So I was like the angry kid. So I'm like, all right, cool. I don't want to look like the angry kid. What I will do, I'm going to show my aggression in a different way. So I was lucky enough to meet some great young minds who had like a similar experience in the classes, and they want to do something about it. And there's a guy, his name Abraham Adid, and shout out to him, who put us together and like, let's do theater, and we gonna act exactly what happened in the classes, and then we show it back to the whole language school, including the principal. We like, what did he say? Principal. Like, what's that? It's like, principal is it's the head of the school. Like, okay, how do you write that? Okay, let me go to the library. I'm gonna go and ask dismiss. Half an hour later, he came back. He's like, yeah, this is principal. We're like, oh, this is how you write principal, and that's the first complete word that I've written.
Really?
And yeah. Yeah. Because in the theater, I was the principal, you know? I was like, I need to learn how to say it, how to write it, and act like it. And then when we did that theater, I don't know if young people understood what we were saying, because the words that was given to me, it was fed to me. And now I have to like memorize things or words that I don't understand. But somehow seeing the students reacting to it, seeing the teachers reacting to it, and the big things that light me up was It was seeing the principal actually just laughing at herself, saying, "Wow, this kid is going to be something one day," and that it sparked a different conversation. It sparked a different journey, and then I tapped into like simple books with drawing and just some key little words like Johnny kicking the ball. All right, Johnny kicking the ball, like that. Just reading that book back to front, and now, little Johnny kicking that ball. He's in footy field. Oh, what's footy? Okay, 7 p.m. footy is on. Similar to this. Now you started to put the words to the pictures, and pictures speaking to the words, and then you started to interacting with people, including now going to the beach. At the time, I couldn't say that word properly. I will think about it as a negative word, as if like you disrespecting a female. And I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now find like the different. And I'm like, okay, how you write this and how you write that. They start with B and then this one with B, but ITCH. And then, EBEACH. All right, this is different, how you pronounce it. So yeah, and then before you know it, I was finding myself in high school, you know what I mean? And then through high school, I started to not focusing more on textbook now. I was focusing more about my emotions, my mental health, my dreams, my ambitions, my interest, my purpose. And yeah, also giving back to my community and the people around me, and also, making sure that I stay true to myself and never change, and that was pretty interesting. And then, when I was in high school, I struggled a lot, because now we learning individually and not as a team. You got to do your work, you got to do your homework, and you got to do this, you got to do that. Timetable come up. You've got like 10 different classes everywhere. No one is holding your hands, say this is the library or this is the sports center or this where the IT is. Now you just have to like figure out this small little world. At the time was big for us.
Yeah.
And through it, I wasn't a big fan of Australian education system because that diminished and also fractured my purpose in life in terms of like education. Because
How so?
So through the war, my education was disrupted already.
Yeah.
Going to Sudan, my education was disrupted. Going to Egypt, my education was disrupted. Coming to Australia, the system is supposed to be easy, but somehow it was made in a way that to make sure that you, that you get disrupted as well. Some people can live through that, but as a young refugee kid who's got like multiple different languages and different thought process, and also coming with a high level of trauma that won't allow you to see the future or the purpose unless you unpack it. You know what I mean? So there's no room, there's no space, there's no time in education system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if there's a counselor, they won't even like know what's going on. You know what I mean? They can't talk at you or talk to you or give you some small little tools, try to figure it out. But yo, man, there's a lot, you know what I mean? There's a lot going for young minds. And then without support again, you know what I mean? And then, and to me, like, it was, sorry. And to me, it was disrupting, man, because the careers teacher asked me a question, said, Ez, what do you want to do when you finish high school? And I simply said that I want to be a filmmaker. And he lied to me, said, well, we don't have film schools here in Australia. And I'm like, okay, I want to be a plumber because my friend is doing it. He's like, no, you can't do a plumber. It's a hard job. When you get old, you're back. I'm like, okay, my friend is doing a bricklaying. I want to do a bricklaying. He's like, nah, it's too much. It's too much hustle. It's too much work. And I'm like, okay, what's out there? So the guy said to me, yeah, I've got an idea. This is the address. You go to this place and see if you can apply for job. So I went to that place, and it was a rubbish dumping ground.
Yeah, right.
So I went there. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna learn a thing or two, but literally just cleaning and sweeping the rubbish. And then someday it would be like me separating plastic, and boxes and and all of that. Like, it's not about undermining the job. You know what I mean? It's just about, it's about, that particular person. If he just explained to me that purpose of that job, I would have worked there, be a manager, probably like make sure those facilities are manageable, are safe for people who are working there. You know what I mean? But he didn't tell me anything. He just took me there. So now I started to hate that job. You know what I mean? So for what purpose? For what reason? You as an educator, you're supposed to make sure the young person, the young person's purpose meet their interest. And then vice versa, the interest meet their purpose, and the journey will continue. But what happened, it was disrupted. You know what I mean? From bricklaying to plumbing to this. And I'm like, man, I think there's more to the story. There's more to the story. I worked there, but I said to myself, nah, that's not a place for me. And I worked out of that place, but knowing that I would come back and not to devalue the hard work that these young men and women do. You know what I mean? Because they keep our society cleaner.
Of course. Yeah. It's got to get done.
Yeah.
It's weird that you were told that there wasn't a film school.
Yeah.
Because there are film schools, right?
Man. Yeah.
There's heaps.
Yeah. And, after graduating, I was depressed. You know what I mean? I was depressed. I was lost. Didn't know where to go. And at the time, I wasn't comfortable enough to speak to my mom about it. And when I was speaking to my friend or my friends, they would just say, "Oh, nah, that's completely fine. Let's do theater." And that was like my therapy then. Let's do music. Let's create something. Let's take photographs. And it was amazing because I didn't know my vision is aligning as well. You know what I mean? From the bad to good, So I was mad because I couldn't go to university just like other kids. And then I had all of this time. But to find like a creative place and like-minded people and just for me to stick around, try to figure out like, my purpose, I think that time needed. Like, imagine if I just went to uni, I don't know where I would be today.
So you took a break, you took time in between finishing school and then, because you did end up going to university, right?
Yeah.
And studying film there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you took time before finishing school and then starting in that.
Yeah, so I'll finish high school in 2007, and then try to first. Okay, I'll finish school in 2007, and then I was depressed. I'm like, okay,
because of the job that you were doing, or you just had no certainty of where you were going, what you were doing.
Yeah, it was just like a brick wall.
Yeah.
Couldn't cross the line.
No opportunity.
No opportunities for whatsoever. And and theater space, studio space, photography. Those are the safest space for me at the time. And I didn't know they were speaking to me. But I was in love with it. But at the same time, when I go home, I go home empty, because my brain didn't develop like the strategy to tell a story or how to express myself. So I was just holding it. And then when I go to those spaces, it's like I need to find like an inspiration for me to create. So it was quite a lot. And then I come home and then I think about my own journey now, like where I'm gonna end up. I don't want to do this. I don't want someone to write my own story. I want to write my own story. So yeah, I was depressed. 2008, I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I was partying a lot. But all of that, I was hiding it from my family, just for the respect. And also what I said earlier in 2004 when I said I want to make my mom proud. Well, this is not the way. And then there was a time that, that I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. Maybe I just need to take myself out of this world. Just kill myself. And then I'm like, nah, I think there's more to the story.
There's still more.
Let's just focus on the theater. So I joined a theater group as part of like Victorian College of the Art. And that was really amazing because I met like some African people who are sharing their own story and everybody writing their own stories too. And then the name of the theater was Our Story. It's supposed to be our history, but they broke it apart, Our Story. And then we did like some touring and it was amazing. 2010, huge car collision happened where people were injured really, really bad. And then that's when I shifted my thought process and I'm like, okay, what is this? I think I need to figure out like, am I gonna live and telling people story as I'm moving around, or you gonna go to university, make your mom proud, but also do what you want to do? And that's what I did in 2011. I went to university, studied film and TV, and I was still mad about that teacher.
It's like, you should have told me.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you were studying film and TV at university, was it what you expected it to be? Were you getting out of it what you wanted to get out of that?
To be honest, not really, not really at all. But there was I was working as a tutor after school in Fitzroy, and then there was like a Swinburne film graduate was working there, and we were talking about what our interests and what we're doing, and he said, I graduated from Swinburne film school and it's amazing, and I'm like, okay, tell me about it. It's like, yo man, like I want you my advice is to make sure you use the equipment at all costs. I'm like, why is that? He's like, man, they're too expensive to hire. And I'm like, all right, cool. So it gave me one clarity out of everything else, is that just to hire the equipment. So I went to school knowing that's what I'm going to be doing. To university knowing that's what I'm going to be doing. And that's exactly what I did. So while people are in lectures, I'll be, shooting. I'll be filming. I'll be crafting. I'll be learning about lighting. I'll be out in the street doing music videos. I'll be back at university late at night doing editing, using the whole facility because I was hungry for that. You know what I mean? And 3 years, it's too short for me to learn. So I gotta use every little opportunity. So yeah, like for me, I've done I've done well at university, but the only subject that I fell in was sound design. And
Sound design.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the best because I was in the studio, you know what I mean, doing sound mixing, and I produced an EP, you know.
Yeah.
I recorded songs for banks and other people, you know what I mean. And I'm like, sound design, maybe I've got like a bad ear or something. But yeah, that's the only subject that I fell in, and then I did a short film, and it was, you know, from the university, and it was really, really good because now I had to like challenge the university to accept the other stories to be told within the university and magnifying that, which is beautiful. And now seeing like some young filmmakers going to that university, I'm just like, wow, you know what I mean? I think I created that path. You know what I mean? And none of them know, and I don't want them to know. Maybe when they hear this podcast.
Maybe they'll find out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Just reflecting back now. Yeah.
I find it really, really interesting. I think that there's something really special about trying to capture the way that you see the world. For some reason, you're trying to express something that you see in the world that you think is beautiful, but maybe not everybody else sees, or maybe not everybody else hears. What does it mean to you to be able to capture and tell a story on film? Like, why is it important to you?
That's a big question, but I'll try to unpack it in my best ability. So this idea of film, I think, existed before I even was born. You know, there's so many amazing filmmakers, people who actually created the camera and lighting and sound and all of those things. So there's a huge history. But when it comes to me, that's when Sudan got an independence in 1953. And there was the first Sudanese filmmaker that was recognized by the British as well as the Sudanese government at the time. And that person, I don't know, the name just escaped my mind now. And that person, he was capturing archive of people at the market.
Okay, yeah.
You know, people walking down the street, people praying, people at the farm, you know, people dancing with their own culture. You know, the modern cars, you know, at the time, you know, the modern buildings, the train tracks. So to me, when I came to Australia and I found that this filmmaker, he was alive, I'm like, you know, I got to learn more about him. But again, I just, you know, every time I searched his name, he wasn't there. But luckily, Al Jazeera did a beautiful documentary about him preserving those stories, and then I became I became the follower of his work. I'm not really sure if the other South Sudanese people or Sudanese people or African people in general following his footsteps, because his work was very genuine. And then to me, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to align myself with that vision because his vision, it was ended pretty soon. And I want to continue that. So mine, it's not just me writing a story about, you know, someone who, I don't know, someone who migrated to Australia, working as a cleaner, somehow fall in love with the Aussie girl, and somehow he got her pregnant. There's a kid is coming on the way, and now his family somehow arrived from Africa. Now he wants to hide the Aussie girl in the wide world. You know, doesn't make sense for me to write that story. But if I tell you, a young South Sudanese person who never learned English, went to high school, went to university, and then went back to his old school, meet with that teacher saying that you couldn't do anything good in your life. And then you'd be like, sir, stand up. I'm your boss now. I want you to leave out the door. So I think this is an interesting story there. Or you can flip it around and be like, sir, I really appreciate the way that you guided me throughout these years, and this is my story. And then you share that part. And then you share that part. And then connect with the people. You know what I mean? So mine, it's completely opposite to the Hollywood films or the Australian film or the Indian films or the Nigerian film. Mine is purely, it's coming from a darker place to a lighter world. And also it's coming from a traumatic experience to a beauty of life, to resilience, to understanding, to caring, to character development, to strength, to power of love and force, to distraction, to anything bad, but good. You know what I mean? To confusion and bring the clarity. And to the midst of darkness, you see a beautiful light. And I feel like mine been dim for a very, very long time. And I know why. I know why. Pretty much because people always will judge me first in terms of like physique, and then color, and then it goes deeper into, will he understand what I'm saying? All right, cool. Whatever that you're saying, you can write it, and then I can read it, I can interpret it in my own way. And if you want me to write it back to you so you can understand your own perspective, I can do that too. But give me a try. So I'm down with asking, like, let's work together. It's like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to be that line now. I'm going to wait, see, and hunt for a good story, but not just jump in any story. Yeah.
And do you want to have the ability to be able to, I guess, be independent, so to speak? Because I know that, well, I don't know, but from things that I've heard, when it comes to trying to produce anything in film and TV, you've got to get approval from, so many people. You got to get permission, right? Which often, if you're trying to create a unique story or something that's different or something that isn't in the status quo, they don't want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So is a goal of yours to try and be self-sufficient or independent when it comes to be able to creating those stories? Or you think that you can get the right support from the right places?
Yeah, the right support from the right places, and then in terms of like the processes and how film works, I respect that because it's working. Yeah. For the industry. Yeah. The only thing that I can do, I can add to it, but I can't just remove some things. So adding is the problem. Adding is the issue. Like, and I'm not saying like the Australian film industry hasn't changed for over years. It has. You see people of color like on ads now. On billboards. You see them on TV quite often. Presenters. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? So for me, it's not about independence. It's about, as you said, it's the right story at the right time. So at the moment, there's no right story, but we've got the right time to write it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it takes a lot of time, right, to be able to create. Yeah. To create and build a story and plan it out, and then get the resources to put it all together.
Yeah, and
sounds difficult.
Yeah. Some stories like you can write it now and make it now. Some stories you write it for years but the meaning disappeared. You know, some stories you can go back in the history and time, but you need more research. You need to find the right people, the right resources to tell you those stories. So now you can't just make up story from the history, and that's where the tricky part is. So it depends on the time frame. You know what I mean? So for instance, during COVID, I made a short film called Black Gold. It was shot at Flemington housing commissions. You know, when the government locked down, you know, the Flemington flats and North Melbourne, and I'm sure like the whole Australia was in lockdown, but those specific communities, you know, they suffered the most without any warning. You know what I mean? And then to be locked and guarded by the police and fire brigades, and there was like a system of expired food was given to them. There's no medicine. It was crazy. So my friend Samuel Obama was like, let's do something about this. And then I'm like, all right, cool. So he wrote the story. I directed it at the Housing Commission just after COVID. And then there was a response to that. And then there was, you know, Channel 7, Channel 9, and all of the news agency that were talking about, you know, the South Sudanese Apex gang at the time. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me write a short story, respond to that, raw doc. And he was speaking into that. But now I don't work like that anymore.
In terms of like writing something as a response to something.
Yeah, I don't work like that anymore, because those kind of stories is easy for me to just do, and possibly it's coming from a frustration rather of creativity, you know, or the beauty that I was talking about, or that understanding and clarity I was talking to you about it, that pain, that joy, and how we connect with people, you know. So to me, I'm like, nah, that's too easy for me to do. So now it's the stories that I want to write, you know, it's international stories, you know what I mean? Because the experiences that my family and so many other refugees that move from one place to another place, you know what I mean? We don't understand how those experiences like, but our parents do. And soon they're not going to be here.
Yeah.
We the one got to be telling the story. And if we don't tell the story, we carry that as a trauma. And now we will leave that to our kids and the future children.
So do you think that without the right stories being told, there's no way to heal a lot of the trauma that exists from that time?
Correct. Yeah. We carry that on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for instance, I'm carrying so many stories in my shoulder. It's just because I didn't find the right people to tell it with me. You know, it was just an excitement. Hey, Ez, I want to do this story. Okay, let's write it, one pager. And then they write the one pager, they send it to me, and then expect me to actually do the whole film. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now you pass that story to me. Now I'm holding it as what? You know, I'm just a witness to that story. You know what I mean? And no matter of fact, I'm holding that story as a hostage, you know, not going out in the world. So I get affected more as a filmmaker. You know what I mean? Those are the responsibilities that I was telling you about before. Because I've got the power to tell the story, people think that it's easy for me to interpret their world, you know, to people. Because sometimes people, they're not confident to tell their own story.
So people come to you, and tell you what's happened to them,
and then I'll be like, all right, cool. What do you want me to do with that? All right, like put it on the film. All right, cool. If I put it on the film, do you know what the character is gonna look like? Okay, as soon as they say, I don't know, all right, that story is just been told for what reason. And then sometime when we manifest, we don't we don't we don't feel that power of manifesting, words into the existing, and then just allow it without any taking actions. So if we didn't take an action, we wouldn't be here. It was just going to be words, and you shouldn't be sitting with me here because you're injured. I shouldn't be here because I'm injured too. But somehow that story, we need to not we need it. We Jono connected with you, you connected with me, and then we started to plan it out together. That's a teamwork.
Of course. Yeah.
But if I just left you unnoticed, there's a lot that is going to happen in your mind. This guy is that, this guy is this. Well, to me, a lot of people are like that to me. No one is respecting my time. Nobody's respecting the story that they told, to me. and that is pretty, it's pretty tiring for every filmmaker.
Who comes to you? Like, who are these people that have ideas and have stories? Like, are these friends or acquaintances from uni? Like, how, or people just DM you? How do people?
Brother, from the highest organization level to the film industry people, community people, people that I worked with in the community, and the TV news. Sometimes you just put me on the edge because I want to respond to those stories at that time. So basically everybody, but not everybody's right for me. I feel like I'm right for them somehow. Or maybe they're not the piece, of this crew. I have no idea. But again, I'm just choosing the story that I want to tell.
Yeah.
Because there's no point.
I mean, it makes sense why people reach out to you because, being able to tell a good story, but also having the power to actually produce it. There's one thing having the idea, but having the power to put it on film, put it down on paper, put it out into the public is one of the most powerful resources at the moment in terms of telling stories to big groups of people is probably one of the most influential mechanisms to sway people, right? So someone like yourself who does have the ability to put it all together and put it out there, I see why people would want to use your skills in some ways, but that could probably be too much sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It is too much. Yeah, it is too much, and I'm grateful for that because not a lot of people have the opportunity or ability,
of course,
to be able to tell it. So now I just wanted to know, like, my purpose, because I did refine my interest, which is filmmaking. But what is my purpose now?
How do you work out your purpose?
Good question.
I don't know the answer, by the way. I'm just interested in yours.
Yeah. All right. So I think how do you work out your purpose? First of all, you have to be completely honest and pure to yourself and to your God-given talent. So if you have anything that will distract you, then that purpose is not gonna, it's not gonna refine itself, and it's not gonna be, it's not gonna be beneficial. It's not gonna be in a good use. It's just gonna be a title. This is my purpose, and that's about it. So at the moment, I'm just like working in getting better at caring more about my purpose than my interest, and then soon enough, they will meet, and I know exactly when. 2026, because I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And I just need to find like genuine people that literally they've got love for the craft, not love for me as human, as they want to use my skill or use me as a shield to tell their stories, but rather to actually be with me and join me in the line. And I can mentor, while I'm working. I can mentor. I can, I've got like a lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of drive. Yes, and then when we meet our goal, our target, and then we finish that purpose and we give it to the world. And when the world respond to us, and instead of us responding to the world, I think it's going to be amazing. So that's what I'm working on at the moment, how the world is going to be respond to me, because I know how I'm responding to the world, and I think that's very, very tiring for me to do constantly without any major support from like-minded people from my own community. Yeah.
And so just so I understand you correctly, when you're saying responding, speaking to the world as opposed to responding to the world, are you trying to avoid being like reactionary in the way that you create things? Like you see something bad and you create something as a response to that, which is, that's probably a pretty common way that people produce works, right? Or create things. It's like something annoys you, something frustrates you, you see some injustice, and then you want to create something to speak to it. So if it doesn't happen like that, what kind of way have you got envisioned in terms of the creation?
What kind of ways? Yeah, well, for me, it's pretty simple. Like Australia has got enough filmmakers already. My home country, as I said earlier, it's pretty new.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stories there that are untold, from war to love to comedy to action to, basically theater, and I feel like I'm that filmmaker that was, the Sudanese filmmaker that was what's recognized.
Yeah.
So I haven't been recognized yet for me to be able to like move in those spaces. So I think I want to create a South Sudanese story in Southern Sudan. I want to feel like what kind of those stories are. Let me go back so I can just clarify it, because I felt like a little emotional. Just
all good, man.
Yeah, so I feel like, so my responsibilities here in Australia are not working, because the amount of the South Sudanese stories that are untold, and for me, I've got that responsibility, because the ability and experiences that I have, that a lot of South Sudanese people across diaspora don't have. And just because the people that respond to me, and they're like, you're great, you're amazing, you this, you that, all of that, nobody came up to me one day and be like, try to criticize my work. I'm not saying I'm not saying people should do that, but I feel like there's no one is generous and honest enough to say, oh, Ez, you messed up this story. I want you to do it this way. I want you to do it that way, or whatever it is.
It's like constructive
criticism. Criticism. And then the stories that I make over here is not connecting with me, because somehow I don't feel comfortable of telling a story in a land that is not resolved yet.
Yeah.
And then at home, it would make sense, because I don't know the land, but somehow the stories speaks to the people there. And then it will speak to me even more. And now I'll be more honest to that story.
Yeah.
I will commit to it. I will have the power, I will have the energy. But over here, it's just because I divide my energy, with the community, and then with Australian, film productions and all of that, and me trying to explain why this, why that, why you've got like an African cup in the table. Why are you wearing this? And it's nothing to do with culture. I cannot give you cultural awareness for me try to tell you my story. Let's make it. You see it, you will see your work. I would say congratulations. You tell me congratulations. That is your story too. It's not just mine. So sometimes people, when they distance themselves from the story, then I become like the only one person who's telling that story.
Oh, so you're the one driving it.
Yeah.
But you're not necessarily connected with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
And that's tiring, and that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life here.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I took a couple of steps back and refined my purpose. I'm like, is my purpose here in Australia or somewhere in America? But somehow it's weirdly in Malaysia.
In Malaysia? Yeah. Why? What's going on there?
Yeah, just because of the weather and the way they make their film. It's pretty interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
I know nothing about Malaysian film.
Oh, man. You should check them out. It's pretty interesting. So the look, those are the kind of looks that I want to do. I mean, it's pretty shaky, steady, very fast pace, slow at a time. And they've got like a similar kind of story with, war, crime, them try to figure it out, how to live together. That's exactly what's happening back home as well. And I believe in Australia here, people try to figure out how to live together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a good, or maybe you can speak for yourself, but speak for everybody else who's come over from Sudan or South Sudan? Is there a good understanding of your history? Like, do you feel like you have a good understanding of your lineage and your history and what's happened there? Like, is that a general thing? Because I know for a lot of people, especially people who have been displaced, that's a big missing piece of the puzzle in their lives. Like, not really, maybe their parents don't talk about it. Yeah. They aren't really told as kids what happened or what things were like. So there's kind of lots of missing pieces and a lot of questions and unanswered things about why you are the way you are and where you came from,
Yeah.
Is there a good understanding?
So my family and we were lucky because our grandmother came with us, Yeah, so her teaching us the language, the wisdom, telling us about the stories, telling us about her struggle, telling us about our grandfather that we never got a chance to see, telling us about her other children, telling us about her twin sister. I didn't even know. She had like a twin sister, taking me and my sister back to South Sudan to tell us like where exactly she was born at, and relative and, and why the South Sudan has been displaced and why should we pursue education and why should we have like a better life. And until this day, her wisdom is just amazing. She's done her job, but she constantly have that room. But in terms of like all ancient history about Sudan, all I know is like we were from the land of Kush, and ruled by the Nubian, and King Banki did rule Egypt for 1,000, for almost so the Nubian people ruled Egypt for more than 1,000 years.
Yeah, okay.
And then when the Roman came, of course, they they just messed up everything in Egypt. But the Nubian or the Kush kingdom lived. But in the middle over here, that's when we lose history and now become Sudan. And then Sudan ruled by the Arabs who came from Saudi Arabia just as a trade. Somehow they took over the country and now the southern has been pushed down. During the, and then the English came, they were fighting with the Egyptian, and then they came all the way to Sudan. And after we got the independence, straight away the northern Sudan, they're like, okay, we're gonna go and kill all the southern southern people, which is the darker complexion. For over 21 years of war. In 2005, we got like a referendum. And then in 2011, we got like the independency. You know, and then the separation between Sudan and Southern Sudan happened. And now some of us who believe that we were born in Sudan, you know, somehow we have to think, we'll be like, okay, we're from Southern Sudan. And instead of us just saying, we're from Sudan.
Yeah.
And then if you say, I'm Sudanese, people, they were like, okay, Northern Sudan or Southern Sudan. And you're like, no, it's just geography. And geography-wise, I'm in the South, but somehow I am Sudanese.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, so Sudan being manipulated by the outsiders and our history being taken away, stripped apart, and somehow we did contribute to civilization. You know what I mean? Like if you check out the Southern Sudanese history now on Google, you know, we've got like more than 100 pyramids than the Egyptian pyramids.
Yeah, I've seen that actually, yeah.
Yeah, and then that history has not been told enough at all. There's no one film, you know, about how they created that. There's no one film about the Nubian king. You know what I mean? There's no one film about South Sudanese war apart from, you know, there's a rebel, you know. But do you know why those rebels rebel? You know what I mean? So they got like a greater purpose for our independence. And that's why I'll be able to kind of like speak freely and independently, and then hopefully create those stories like later on in the future. So there's just kind of like a short story in small little snaps. But to say it from the beginning of time to now, wow.
It's a big story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like there's so many stories to be told there, right?
Yeah, big time.
If there's not many people doing it at all.
Yeah, my last hope, my last dream, my last wish would be if Australia, you know, tried to work out an allyship with Southern people, because somehow we're contributing to this country and we want to help this country too. Because somehow there's some of the South Sudanese young people that were that are born here, they are Australian and they want to contribute, they want to get involved and they want to change the culture. They don't want to do all of those things. But again, there's no bridge and it will take time. Yeah, but my wish is one day is to be able to create that bridge.
In terms of a bridge, like what do you think people, and maybe you could speak to refugees in general, but other Sudanese people, like what is missing for young people in their understanding? Because how do you connect the dots between the stories that are untold back in Sudan and then mixing it with this story in Australia as well and trying to have some like connectivity around understanding yourself?
Yeah, wow, okay. There are a lot missing. Yeah, a lot missing. Just relationship and connection, you know. Relationship with parents, you know what I mean? It doesn't happen quite a lot, you know, within the South Sudanese household, you know, because our mothers, our fathers, they too busy working, try to pay off their mortgage or their child school fees and whatnot. So when they are working as hard, you know what I mean, try to provide, and then a child goes to school expecting them to learn, but somehow along the way they meet with like group of young people to kind of like socialize or go to the market or the mall or whatever it is, try to again figure out this world alone without any support. And then when they come home, now there's no conversation. How's school? Good. How's work? Good. Everybody sleeps early in the morning, boom, at the door again. And then in school, they're actually been raised by teachers instead of like by parents or family members to align their story, their purpose, and also why they're actually doing education, and get them excited about it. And then those conversations not talked about it that much, because I believe in the school it's all about education. That means you read the book, you get to filter through those subjects for your own understanding, so you can build your own perspective and make it 10 times stronger, whether it's politics or whether just simply as a cleaner or a carpenter or whatever it is that you want to do in life. Or if you don't want to do anything, just be there. And when you finish year 12, you'll be okay. You will figure it out. So now when they go home, there's no time for them to socialize, to unpack those learnings. And then becomes distorted for young minds. Oh man, I don't want to do this anymore. And every constant day, there's a giving up on those young people. And then our parents, they're like, oh, they're tough, they're very strong. I think they got it. Yeah. Year 10, drop out. Then they become like super Aussie, because now they find like their own culture. They figure out their own group of friends that they understand and how to navigate this world. And now they're talking about other things that it doesn't exist in the real world, doesn't exist in the reality. It's online, and then there's a lot of confusion and distortion. Then what happened? There's no conversation, there's no relationship between the child and the parents, and then there's a disconnect. And now this is how we lose.
How do you reverse that? How do you fix that?
How you fix that? I did a short film talking specifically about the young person's mental health and mental well-being.
Which short film was this?
Yeah, it's not out yet. It's
okay.
It's not out yet. Again, you see, I have to like take the drive. So I did like a mental health short film about a young boy who's really angry and mad, in a classroom, doesn't want to listen to sir and miss, and obviously to his mom, and then one day he got suspended, and then the teacher arranged a meeting. So the mom was there, he was there, support staff member and a teacher, saying, look, your action, it's not acceptable in the school to pull someone weak. And why did you do that? The question why, it's amazing, it's humbling. It's give a chance for somebody to open up if they want to. And then when he was given that chance, he'd be able to open up. Even like look to the mom, said, Mom, like you're never there for me. You never told me how to respect women. You never told me how to respect other people. When I say something, you always argue back. So I grew up learning that. So I come to school, so will yell at me, and then I yell back, because I think I thought this is nice, because that's what they're doing too. So I'm learning that. So I think we all have like individual responsibilities of how we speak to people, and how we align ourselves to people. And sometimes we don't have to. Sometimes we don't have to tap into their cultural belief, or their understanding. We don't have to, But why? and asking questions for you to understand for your own good, for your own mental well-being. It's I think it's the easiest thing for us to like heal together.
Yeah.
So parents have responsibilities, kids have responsibilities, communities has responsibilities. Everybody have responsibility as Australian, you know. And I think after COVID, our mental well-being has declined. And
Yeah.
and everyone is just mad and sad and all of those things. Just take a second. You know what I mean? And if you want to yell, like these rooms for you to do that. These parks, you know, go to the ocean somewhere, go for a walk, connect with the nature, and then come back and think. I think we as people living in Australia, I think we've got like a greater responsibility for us to do that so we can heal as one. Because sometimes, I think we need that. And COVID united us, but also separated us.
Yeah, man, you make a really good point, because after COVID for me, and I guess since then dealing with different things in life, I found that one of the most like healing and therapeutic things that I could have experienced is being able to have conversations, right? And one of the inspirations for doing this podcast is I know everybody heals in different ways, and a conversation isn't always the way, but in saying that, asking someone some good questions about themselves and like actually listening to their answer, and you know, if you're like, how was your day? And they're like, good. It's like, no, seriously, how was your day? And actually pushing a little bit to promote, to allow someone to talk about their own experience, I think is like one of the most powerful things. And
oh man,
I've really found, once I've thought about this more, like how to ask people good questions and what do good questions promote, and what happens to someone when you allow them to speak. Once I was thinking of all these things, it's so weird when you're out and about, and I was starting to have conversations with different people. It's actually surprising how little people ask questions of one another. Yeah, everyone's kind of always talking about themselves, but very rarely are they asking real, genuine questions about someone's life. And it's like, man, fuck, like if that could happen more, I think it would be very healing for a lot of people.
Yeah, and you've got all of these services that are available. They say it's available. I'm not sure if they are available. They're like, oh, you know, call this number, and you call this like a machine that will agitate you on the call. You know what I mean? And instead of just calling a friend, I think it's easier. I think it's quicker. You know, if you're afraid to even like speak nowadays, there's like a voice recording. You can video it. You know, you could do a lot of stuff just to keep yourself sane, safe, and healthy, so you don't affect other people around you.
Yeah,
and you don't affect the entire community. So I think you're right. Just asking those right questions, it help us to like move together. And I think conversations nowadays, people don't have time for conversation. You know what I mean? It's like this.
Yeah.
And then that's about it. What happened, someone goes into the room, shut the door, I bet that they will be crying. You know what I mean? They'll be crying. They want to write poetry. They can't do it. You know what I mean? Because those emotions aren't real, because it's not theirs. You know what I mean? And those tears aren't real because, oh yeah, he said, she said, you know, it's because, oh, this person said this. Yo, man, you got to have like a bulletproof of words, you know, not to come at you. So
it's hard to know what your own emotions are, right? It's when you're constantly consuming content, and you're listening to other people's problems, and you've got problematic stories, which can be entertaining, but there does come a point where it's like, am I experiencing my feelings? Or am I experiencing like someone else's feelings at this point in time?
Yeah, how to disconnect from someone else's story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I've learned that not long ago, like it was like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Literally.
How to disconnect from someone's story.
Yeah. So for the first time, someone called me that I was racist. You know what I mean? It was shocking.
Called you racist?
Yeah. Did you see? People mental health is crazy. I'm just like, wow. All right, cool. I got affected. You know what I mean?
How did it make you feel?
Man, yeah, out of place. You know, I'm like, how am I even racist? You know what I mean? Like, what is it about me that it's racist? Oh, you know, the way I speak, the way I behave, the way I was holding myself. So I'm gonna tell you just the scenario without any names. So, a woman at workplace came in, you know, at the front office, and it's like, what do you do here? And I'm like, I'm working. I work here. It's like, well, I don't know if I should share this story, man. Nah, it's too hard for me to share, but I'll tell you that. Yeah, I'll tell you the after effects. So after she called me racist, I felt like out of place. There's no other words that for me to say or think about it. So I went into my head and I'm like, okay, if I yelled at that woman, you know what I mean, as a black person, then I will get into legal situation here. You know, just for me, just raising my voice. But that lady was raising my voice at me, and she was shouting at me. She was talking at me. And I was just there quietly preserving my energy and me not trying to interact. But those words are coming to me internally. I was internalizing it too. And then luckily my work colleague is like, you know, you can't talk to our staff members like this. Look at the sign. And then for the first time, I looked at the sign, respect our staff, like with a lot of list of what not to do, including yelling and shouting. And I'm like, what about for staff? You know, that's in the contract. So it will take me time for me to go and look about my rights and all of those things, you know. But somehow I'm like, okay, if I yell, okay, I'm black, loud voice, tall, all of those things. I started to think about it. And then I'm like, is it right thing to do not to speak? Or it was just wrong for me to just take those words and me being attacked. So I tried to like filter through, and then I spoke to someone about it. And then they're like, yo, this story's got nothing to do with you, man. It's
not your problem.
Yeah. That person has got their own insecurity, their own issue, whatever that is happening. Everybody got like their own issue. Think about what is your issue at the moment. I'm like, damn, there's a lot of issues that I need to sort out through. And first of them, it was like my little brother. I haven't connected with him. I haven't breached that. Okay, let me shift. I want to connect with my brother. I want to reconnect with my sister, with my friend, you know. And then I saw there's a lot of disconnection from people that I care about. But somehow I want to connect with this story that it's got nothing to do with me. As soon as I remove myself and I look the other way around, wow, you know, the Bandura box of amazing connection happened, you know. And then I found myself like literally I can walk through people and the line will just open up. You know what I mean? I'll be driving, you know, green. You know, like even like just me coming this morning, I didn't expect that I was gonna find like parking and beautiful day today and lovely coffee and me sitting here having conversation with you.
Yeah.
You know, if I just have like a negative thoughts, this wouldn't happen. But I just had like a positive mindset. You know, I just want to project that out more, and that from that little incident. So sometimes we need to work on ourselves too. We don't need to depend on other people's story. We're trying to figure it out and sort it out and why this and why that. No, sometimes you just need to take the responsibilities. Yes, I've got an issue I need to work on. So me thinking out just because of that, now I started to open conversation with different cultures. Last night I met a friend from Japan, and we had like an amazing interaction. And that is story in there. You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, cool. That's what I'm gonna do. Just leave the story in that moment, and then move on.
Not carry it around all day.
Not carry it around.
It's a really good point, man. I do connect with what you said, because you're so right. The amount of energy that I have spent thinking about other people's problems and how other people should change, and other people speaking this way to me or this and that, where there's a million things about myself I could be focusing on and working on. Like there's no need to worry about.
That's absolutely right. Like literally, constantly. You know what I mean? Since that time until now, I think I saw huge change, man. Like huge change. And I'm excited to learn more about myself, and I'm excited to share new ways of thinking with people that I encounter, or people in my life. I want them to see me shift. I'm not gonna say change, just to see me shift my focus, my thought process, how I connect with them. Like this morning, my friend who I messaged last night, I'm like, hey man, how are you? And quite openly, he's like, man, I'm in a mess. So I replied back to him like, man, this mess is called situationship. It's like, you're right, but what's that? So I've drawn a picture, one, like a head, hand, legs, standing there very nice. And then the other is like two people, and there's a line. And I said, this is a relationship. So there's a line, there's a conversation going on, but you're here, it's just you, and then there's two. So if I scrap it like this, all over the place, what is it? It's like, man, this is a mess. Where can you start? And I'm like, just do a little dot and see where it takes you, and draw a picture. And that, you will get yourself out of that situation. You know what I mean? So situationship is very like a mess that we're afraid to untangle. And what we're looking for is the relationship, but we still tie and trapped with all of these negative thoughts and ideas that it doesn't exist, and it doesn't value the other person that you want to connect with, because the other person, they have their own situation, and then the other person, and then the other person, and then the other person. So if you put all of these people in one place and try to untangle all of that, it will take us a lifetime. But to think forward, to think positively, to find new ways of connecting, it could be simple as what I shared to my friend. It's like, you don't have to be there to say happy birthday to your mom. You can literally just send a pretty silly video, of you saying happy birthday and you enjoying your time. That is more effective than you being there, empty, alone, stressed, try to think about, okay, what am I going to be doing on Monday? You know what I mean? But you make yourself okay first, and everything will fall into place. And we don't have long until, December. So there will be like a long time for you to have those Christmases and the New Year's and whatnot. You know what I mean? But this is our time, it's your time to be able to wind down, not add on. And there was like an amazing conversation to have with him openly. So now this is one out of a million who will do that. You know what I mean? And that new thought process is the new term that I'm going to be using from now on.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful things I think in existence is having a good connection with another human.
Yeah.
One of the worst things ever is when that connection is disrupted and confusing. Like
yeah.
nothing's given me more sleepless nights
Yes.
than thinking about a disrupted connection with another person. Like that's the most. It's so stressful when your relationships aren't working out in the right way. So having the courage to be able to kind of tell the truth and draw that straight line.
Yeah.
Is difficult, but wow, it feels so rewarding and so good once it's actually done.
Yeah, well, I have been in those destructive relationship one time, not one time, a few times actually, and then the worst of them was me engaged. Sorry, let me tell this story again. So in 2018, after not being in Egypt for a very long time, I went back looking for my childhood friend who didn't have any opportunities to make it out of Egypt. And then for me, I'm like, because we traveled together from Sudan and we lived together in Egypt, and me coming over here, having access to all of these opportunities, and it makes sense to connect with her and try to build first a friendship and then a relationship, and then we can continue if God allow. And I was excited about that. And I had like a one goal is just to go, meet, chat, and then we'll see what happened. And that's exactly what happened. I went for the first time, and then second time, and then second time I went and proposed and engaged to her. She said yes. We did all of these amazing kind of celebration, including culture celebration. I came back to Australia in 2019. At the time, I was hearing about, COVID, this, COVID, that, and I didn't mind like what was happening in the world. All I know is that I'm engaged to this person. I'm gonna do all of the paperwork. And 9 months, hopefully she will be here. And we can, start fresh, new life and all of those things. So that didn't end up well because the lockdown happened. And then that long distance relationship that I tried to keep, I tried to keep without no hope to the future, whether we're going to be out in the world again or we're just going to be locked in. But all of the documents, all the processes was going. All the thing left was like the medical procedures. And then I heard that she was with somebody else who's going to America. And I'm like, where's my ring? And I lost it. And I'm like, man, that ring has got like my whole entire family and your family. And I said to you specifically, this is designed for us to keep forever. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And then
that's going to be pretty hard.
Yeah, man. And then argument on the phone. Switch off. I don't want to see you again. I don't want you to come to Egypt. And me being frustrated, I'm like, what? Egypt is not your country. I'm coming back. She's like, no, don't come back. And, and then we just ended it that way. And it became very, very messy. And then I was here trying to work out all of these emotions, trying to figure out like what I'm going to do. Because I said the future. And now that future is disrupted. Yeah. So it will take time for me to start again. And it took time for me to start again. But the healing part, it was going to swimming pool and sauna a lot. That's where I was untangling all of this.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what is your process of trying to heal and overcome shitty circumstances like that? Like, how do you get over it? How do you get over stuff? How do you let stuff go?
God damn.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. How you let the stuff go. Man, maybe because I learned how to disconnect. Maybe that's why I can't answer it properly. But if I go back from 2 days ago all the way back, it would be just me going to sauna and swimming pool and talking to. Well, I was gonna say friends. Like, there's no time for me to talk to friends. Just swimming pool and sauna. You know what I mean? And I think that's not a good way for you to go through things by yourself.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, because you're just there. The body is sweating and
Everything's just like,
and your heart is beating fast and nothing is calm. And it's pretty difficult to just be and try to just relax. You know what I mean? But I kind of like find like cold water to just shake me up and restart me.
yeah.
Like early in the morning or at night time. And definitely like looking for coffee. Coffee. But
Coffee can fix all things.
but how to let things go, man. Like, I'm trying to figure it out, man.
It's I ask you, not expecting you to know all the answers. I definitely don't know the answers. Like the process of trying to let go when something's really hurt you is really hard. It's really difficult.
Yeah, but I speak to my sister.
Yeah?
Yeah, I speak to my sister. She doesn't even have like the tools, but I speak to her. But I only tell her what she wants to hear.
Yeah.
You know, I tell her like the good stories. I tell her about the success. I tell her about all of those things. But when it comes to letting go of difficult things, it would be my grandmother. Yeah, it would be my grandmother. Even though she can't like really hear my accent properly, but she does listen.
Yeah.
And then she will respond back with an amazing wisdom. And then she will make my view clear, make me calm, make me richer, protected, guarded, strong. But again, that's not her responsibility for her to take on, what I have given her or what I have shared with her. Now she have to like find alternative ways.
Yeah.
But she's got a group of friends.
She can talk with them. She can get it out.
Yeah.
So tell me about Next in Color.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it's called, right? Next in Color.
Yeah.
Tell me about this. What is this exactly? When did you create it? What's the purpose of it?
All right. So Next in Color is an art organization that based in Fuscray. And what Next in Color do, it works in various organizations, is a community, government, or NGOs, to activate spaces, whether it's art, theater, film, or even like just a guest speaker. And also we've been involved with a research, with Victoria University, just to document our process and how we do things.
Okay.
So that research could be, printed and also given to the community so they can have knowledge as well. Instead of us just working, and then there's no blueprint for the young generation to follow. We started, I think it was like in 2000, can't remember on top of my head, like 6 years ago. It was like 5 of us, and now there's 3. Because, people grow differently, and then their purpose when they meet other interests, they will just go there. And I think that's where I'm at the moment. I'm also about to step down from Next in Color and just let it flourish, because I've done my duty, and I feel like I'm overqualified for that. So someone else might take that space and make it even greater to where it was. So yeah, so at the moment we there's like 3 podcasts that's coming out. I wasn't involved in that at all, but I came in as a liaison officer, so working with the producer, try to work out those podcasts and how they're gonna look like,
Yeah.
and how we're gonna release it to the world. But and also we've been sponsoring numerous events, and then the one that is coming up in November the 9th, it's a Black Wealth Connect Women Summit. So it's all about financial literacy, properties, land management, and all of those things. Just trying to educate the community about all of those things, and also what to look out for in the land market, and the brokers, which bank you should go to, and don't trust those.
So you're not getting
lenders.
scammed.
Yeah. So that's coming up. So it's just really, really good that Next in Color is still going very strong.
How do you get funding to be able to support these things?
Yeah, so there's like government grants that come out. Like I think it's Australian Council, Victoria grant, and then also some of the local council, because we're based in.
Because you can apply for grants through the local council, can't you?
Yeah.
There's some that are available.
Yeah. So that one too we do, and then yeah. But what we do, it's pretty amazing. So we don't rush into projects straight away. We're like, all right, cool. So with this grant, what we gonna do? All right, we give ourselves time to roll out some projects, and also make sure that we deliver it to the community, and then we get some feedbacks, and we see the learnings and the takeaways, and then we put it as part of like the research, and then it becomes a book, a guide for the future.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But you're gonna step down from that potentially.
Yeah.
Onto bigger and better things.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's good to step down, from things.
Yeah.
And see it grow. Just like I'm gonna use this stupid analogy. Just like a lemon tree. You know what I mean? Lemon tree grows. Sorry, you put a lemon seed in the ground. After 5 years, then it will give you lemon. So I think I've done more than enough. And when one lemon it's ripe and falls down, and then breaks, the seed will go into the ground and then it grows again. So now we're building 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
And we just continue like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
It's going to keep growing.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And then for you moving forward into the future in terms of how and what you're going to create, this is a part that I'm always been interested in, because I don't really know how the economics of all of this stuff works, because it's a fine line when it comes to art and then commerce and trying to join those things together. So for someone in independent film or trying to create a film, tell a story, how you obviously need to make some money so then you can stay alive to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to get paid still. How do people make money in this space? Like how do you get funding to do stuff like this? Is it all grants or advertising, or how does it work?
As I said before, some organization, they reach out to me either via email, or someone gave them my phone number or Instagram or something like that. And then I get blinded by the opportunity, and I say just yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? and then I just found myself like doing that work. So I stopped saying yes and try to and try to write more, and that's what I've been doing, just writing. Not any story. I'm just writing like my own story at the moment, autobiography, from a young minds to where I'm at the moment, and also the bad memories that was haunting me and my family for years, to be able to put it into a piece of writing, and then those words just looking at me and me saying like, I can't edit you, you know what I mean? But I can't really change what happened.
Yeah.
But me writing this, I can't change it. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, and it comes with a lot of like unpacking and healing. And sometimes you go into a sad mode, and in that place you feel like you just want to give up, but you're like, nah, I think it makes sense. All right, when I was sad when I was a kid, you know what I mean? That's when my uncle wife who kicked me out of room in middle of the night and say, you go and stay in the kitchen. The roof is broken. It's pretty cold, and it was raining at that time. You know what I mean? I felt sad. I'm trying to work out like why she sent me out. You know what I mean? And me just putting that into a paper and saying that's what made me strong, and also to be able to have the resilience and to craft the heart of a man, just so I can be strong and also live in this beautiful environment that I'm in, but also to be able to educate a few people. It could be one person, 2, 3, and empower them and push them for them to do success. You know what I mean? From a basketball in Fitzroy to the NBA. You know what I mean? From small little dreams from South Sudanese basketball team to see them in the Olympics. You know, from a young male who was acting in a small theater group to a massive TV screen. From me altering that boy that was sent to go and work at a rubbish collector to create a feature film, Hearts and Bones, where literally we had to get a man out of that workplace to act in the biggest film that right now on the stand. You know, from not knowing how to cook food to work on MasterChef to craft and also learn about different cultures' food and have that in me. It was just a dream. So me unpacking all of those things into a book, it's great because nobody knows me. People just know what I've done and what I will be doing. But deep inside, these unspoken journey of Ez that I want to share to the world, and not just create an impact, but also to resonate with the young minds. More importantly, because I grew up with a dad. My mom was there, but somehow I was raised by my grandmother, and then I had to look after like my siblings and my younger brother. So I don't wish this journey or this story to replicate to a lot of young people at all, but through my story to be able to relate and hopefully find a window of hope where they can just open it and have like a fresh breather. And if they want to look, they can see a nice view. if they want to, or if they want to participate or reshift, they can open the door and go for that long walk by themselves, and they will find their own journey. So I'm not saying that I'm like I've got superpowers, but I believe my powers is unleashed, untapped, and I'm grateful for the weight, the consistency of my character, and also yeah, the way I adapt into new environment, new settings very, very quickly, just like a martial art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my head, that's how I see the world. Just like, the mixed martial art. It's me against the world, but I can maneuver. I know it can hit hard sometimes, but to come back up, because as I said before, I wanted to commit, suicide multiple times, not just one. And in all of those countries, in Sudan, and Egypt, and in Australia.
How do you overcome that feeling?
Well, me speaking about it now is just shivering because I never shared it before, but how to overcome that is, it's just, I just ask myself, like, why me? Why me? And also, why do I need to make my mom, my grandmother, and my sister, and my two younger brothers suffer and have that loss? You know what I mean? No, I'm not gonna do that. But no matter of fact, I'm gonna try to add that. And now I want it to be like the shield for those young people as well. And more importantly, my two younger brothers, when they read through the story, then they'll be able to be like, oh my God, all right, cool. Now I see like why you were talking to me that way. Why are you telling me go to college? Why are you telling me to master my craft? Why are you telling me don't do filmmaking? I tell young people don't do film. It's a lonely industry.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like very, very lonely. You feel alone. Because you're in the room by yourself writing.
Yeah,
having all of these characters. You know what I mean?
And you've got to dive pretty deep.
Yeah. You give them voice, you give them feelings, you give them clothes. All left is just to, no matter of fact, we feed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feed them in the story, you feed them in real life. And then they become your family for a short period of time. And then before you know it, boom, no one's there. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying it's for anyone to do. You know what I mean? But you have to be willing to fall in love with yourself every single time.
Because I guess you're spending all of that time by yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you better make it work with yourself.
Yeah.
Do you like working alone? Do you like being alone now?
Yeah. Yeah, big time. Yeah, I enjoy myself quite a lot. I do. As I said before, from swimming pool to sauna. I go for walks. I come home. I don't even write script anymore. You know what I mean? So I dive into my story straight away. Because I'm like, there's a lot happen, throughout the day. You know what I mean? So I need to figure out like my own issue now. You know what I mean?
Do you write? So in this process of writing your own autobiography, so to speak, do you write every single day on this, or just when it calls to you, sit down and write?
Almost every day.
Yeah,
almost every day. Just because the people that I interact with, and also I'm close to my family. So every time we just like speak, I tap into a missing piece. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, oh, I got to go back and just write it. Oh, I can just draw it. If I don't draw it, I do voice recording. If I don't do voice recording, I send an email to myself.
So you try and capture it straight away.
Yeah. And it's helping me to actually articulate myself better.
Yeah.
In writing. And to be honest, like when I was at school, like I hated writing. I don't wanna get involved.
Yeah.
But now I just, throughout the years, I just find myself doing it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most helpful things. Like I've used writing as a tool to externalize and organize my mind and emotions for quite a long time now. And I've never really thought about whether understanding how to write well. It's more just how do I get what's in here out on the page so I can stop dealing with it.
Yeah.
How do I organize my thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. How to organize your thought. Well, like for me, if my room is just everything is out of place, then my thought process is not right.
Yeah.
And I would feel it, and I will act like it, and I will experience it, and I will feel tired and drained. But when my room is clean, everything is just set, man, I think I'm just like the sunshine out there. You know what I mean? Very bright and humble, just very light and everything. Yeah, but when my room is just kind of a mess, then that's when my brain become very
get a bit darker,
distorted. Yeah, it become very distorted and dark, and that's when I would know that I'm going to a heavy place. All right, cool. Now try to come back again, and then when I find that small little energy or little motivation, you can bring yourself out. Then I clean, listen to some good music. Before you know it, boom, I'm just there.
Back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to turn this sort of thing into like a feature film or something like that? Or do you want to capture it just as a book?
Work
in progress.
Working in progress. But there would be like one chapter that dedicated for the film. Yeah, and that will be dedicated to all of the women across the world that experience violence in their life in whatever shape or form, and then they had to like stand up and be the man, the woman, the uncle, the teacher, the leader, the guide, a provider for their household to make sure their children succeed. So that will be dedicated to them. So I'm looking forward to just really write it, share it with a few people that I contact with, just to kind of like do proofreading and help me try to not be sounded aggressive or emotional at the time. Yeah. And also I want to make sure that it doesn't affect other people, because that's not their story. It's my story. So it's got nothing to do with you.
It's hard to know how people are going to interpret your work.
Oh man, do
you spend any time trying to think about how people are going to interpret what you create, or you just try and create what works for you and hope it works for them too?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I usually respond to the audience.
Yeah.
But the other way around, I never experienced that. So this is a great test. And I'm working really, really hard to prepare myself in that when I launch the book. So I'm preparing myself because it's not going to be easy, and I'm not expecting it to be easy either. It's hard, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm just excited to write it, to complete it. Like 3 weeks ago, I said, "Oh, it's finished," but it wasn't. It wasn't at all, because there was like a missing piece of my grandfather, and then I saw that through all images when I went to Sudan and literally saw his what is it, his house, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, nah, I got to.
Got to put more in.
Yeah, because it's this part of his story there, and how they met, like my grandma and him. Yeah.
Do you ever see yourself living in Sudan again?
Oh man, today if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe this is a question for you. How do you feel like you living in Australia?
I like living in Australia, but I've never lived in any other part of the world before.
Yeah.
And I think I would like to experience living in another country for a bit, but I definitely am happy. I feel happy to be a citizen of Australia and have it as a place to always be able to come back to.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So I like living here. I don't know what it would feel like if I was living somewhere else. Yeah. I'd probably miss it.
Yeah. Nah, I agree with you. So this is an analogy. I love analogies. So South Sudan is like a father, will discipline you, will be tough at you, will be hard at you. And then Australia is just like a warm mom who just wants the best for you. And I love Australia and I love living here. But the discipline that was missing in my life was the fatherhood. And not be able to be tough and make like good decision to achieve things in life. I never had an access to that. So South Sudan, I feel like it will teach me that, because there's nothing there. You know what I mean? It's developing very, very slowly, which is really, really good. But I can go and visit, for a short amount of time and then come back. So, I would love to go and live in South Sudan and just kind of experience the people, the culture, reconnect with the land, and also have like a clear understanding of what does it mean to have a land, to have a home, without any question, without any doubt, without any thoughts in your head when you about to walk out the door, having that a shield of what people gonna say. Oh, this white person is about to judge me right now. So you feel like self-conscious constantly in Australia. You act different. You be mindful of others. You behave in a certain way. But over there, like you can be fully yourself.
You can just,
and
just relax.
Yeah, and you can feel that joy. And then when I fill myself up with all of that joy, I think it will just give me a greater strength, because it's not just gonna help me, but also it's gonna refine the book, because it has to be true. You know what I mean? Maybe everything that I've written is just a lie. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to make sure it's actually meets. So now it became clear to me the purpose and the interest. When I go there, they will meet, and then it will become very, very powerful. So for me, I just wanna spend a little time with my dad. I want to get to know him. I want to get to his side of the story.
Yeah.
I want him to be tough. I want him to alter how I see the world, the perspective that I have, because I believe that I've got a clear understanding of a feminine energy and a little bit of male energy, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then I had to like develop out of that as a young man, as a man. And then what does it mean to be that? You know what I mean? I have no idea. And they said, oh, you're a provider, you just bring babies in the world, and that's about it. So I think there's more to it.
I think there's definitely more to it.
Yeah, so I don't know what that is. So I would love to go and experience that. Yeah.
Do you have other male role models growing up in Australia that you could look to for that sort of teaching or lessons, or not really?
Yeah, I can't think of any. Maybe my peers. We just exchange.
Of course, yeah.
You know, we just exchange.
Yeah.
We just exchange roles. Just my peers, my friends. Yeah.
Well, it'll be good to go on that discovery.
No one. And to be honest, all of my teachers, they're all female.
Yeah.
All of my work managers, and they're all female. Next in color, you know, they're all female. I was the only male. Where I work at currently, like at school, like my manager, including the principal, is a female. Is nothing at all. But that's all I see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no other side. That's quite weird. Me just
not at all.
Yeah, thinking about it right now. Wow, that's a discovery.
Yeah. It's a big one, hey, because it's becoming more and more clear as we hear more about the rest of the world, how, you know, getting male role models, getting female role models, getting as many different types of role models from different walks of life is important. And having a lack in certain areas growing up, we all have it in certain ways on how it feels like it affects us.
Yeah.
And definitely having like a good balance of male and female role models is clearly so important. It doesn't matter when we get it, even if it isn't as a kid, but at some point in life, you know, it's important.
Yeah, big time. It is important.
It's hard to know how to be a man.
Yeah, definitely. Like, well, I didn't have this in my head. I wasn't prepared for this. But man. All right. So it's amazing when a young female will come up to me for advice. It's pretty interesting. And when I speak from my own perspective, it's come out as with feminine understanding, you know, because that's my grandmother, my mom, you know, and my relationship with my sister. So they already organized that thought process in my head. And then when they're talking about, say, a relationship, for instance, then I will actually go against men. I'm like, men shouldn't be doing this, men shouldn't be doing that, men shouldn't be doing this, men shouldn't be doing that. And then I come over here, I'm like, you're young, you got to protect that beautiful little heart of yours, because this is you have to understand what this is. You have to have a clarity. Is it just a friend? You guys are talking? You guys liking each other? Because there's so many steps to take to get to where the relationship is. So where is it? And then we unpack that. You know what I mean? And so it's me thinking about it right now. I think I wouldn't change anything then from my upbringing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the fact that I want, that's me. It's me.
Yeah.
I want. And the bridge that we were talking about it earlier, so that's the bridge that I want to create. So it would be easier for me to go into the male's heart and then vice versa. But nowadays, it's pretty hard for a male to just go in female's heart, try to create that bridge. Straight away argument, da-da-da, you know, you send me a picture of someone's feet, who is that? And, you know, boom, argument, no respect in the middle, no values for whatsoever. So I think from the females that came into my life, whether they were my companion or my managers or my teachers or whoever, until this day, they actually shaped me to be a better man.
Of course.
You know, to be a greater man. It's just I'm not ready to show to the world that I am, because I might I might affect some other people. Like, oh man, this guy changed. No, I didn't change. I just changed my perspective, and it's just still me. And it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful to have like two different perspectives. I love it. I think. Sorry, man. I'm happy because
it's good, man.
Yeah.
It's good. It's what life's all about. I think being able to getting locked into one perspective brings around so much struggle, and on the flip side, being able to have the ability to try and see the world through someone else's eyes, walk in someone else's shoes, see it from a different place, have as many different perspectives as possible on life, and I think that's what makes it so interesting for me.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So because we live in the world where there's so much beauty out there,
100%,
but we can't see it because we just fixed into one direction, and then we think that we're happy, and then when we retire, then we will be able to kind of experience all of that. Well, we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, but I'm lucky, and I'm sure there's some people out there that will probably have like a different perspective as well. But from my own humble opinion, I'm happy from where I am. And also, if a male or a man is not brave enough to speak to a female honestly, well, that's an issue there. That means like your own understanding or perspective is fixed as well. And there's no kindness. There's no caring. Now you can't create that space. You know what I mean? So you become as an individual. And then you rob someone else's feeling, trying to feel yours. And then when they want from you, you kind of like diffuse that and you reject that. So I don't think I don't think that's what we should be doing. Because if we look back into where we came from physically, like from our moms and dad, maybe we need to understand like what happened before, so we can continue. So yeah.
Yeah, man, just got to keep trying with that. Trying with that honesty.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is.
It's difficult to tell the truth when it's not convenient.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
It is.
But it pays off, and it's probably one of the best ways that you can have a good positive outcome with life is when you start telling the truth, even when it isn't convenient.
Yeah, as I said, like before COVID, I used to lie and try to cover things up. You know, it wasn't cool. You know, it wasn't nice. Like I didn't understand my thought process. You know, I would say something, I would do completely opposite. You know, I can organize a dinner with a friend, you know, or friends, and then I bail out in the last minute. I will just say I'm sick, you know, or I'm tired, I can't, or something come up. So that organizational skill, you know, it wasn't there. So I was just saying yes to everything, and then me trying to figure out like which one is best for me, you know. And then what I choose would be, I'm just gonna go home and watch a movie, you know. But everything else that I wanted to do or manage, you know, it's just all over the place. It's just falling apart. And then just because of a simple lie. And then thanks to COVID, you know what I mean? Like it made me to dive deeper into myself. And that's when I started to actually writing like the first chapter of the book. And started to understand myself and started to like unpack and talking to mom and try to just keep close relationship with my family. And then as soon as I was able to do that, and then I opened it up slowly, you know, and then me and my brother now, we just talk and we have a conversation, and it's amazing, you know. And then sometime when he says something, I'm like, I think that's that's not you, man. And then he'll be like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. Just be true to yourself, and then you'll be okay. Even if you encounter disappointment or whatever it is for your truth, then it's up to the individual. But you have to just live with that truth, and it's really good. And with my truth, I lost a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. So as soon as you started this writing process, started finding out more about yourself, and you begin changing in a way, or finding your true self. Yeah. Did people drop away?
Oh, many people dropped away.
How? Why?
For them, I have no idea. Yeah. But for me, I'm just writing, you know. And for them, they busy try to build a material dreams that we're not gonna take with us anytime soon, you know. But I'm investing in humanity, you know, through my story, and that's what I'm doing. But for the individual, I don't know what their purpose is, because, you know, I feel like our life is like is like a train. You know what I mean? We all in the train ride. You know, people get off early, and some people stay there for a very long time. I'm in a train right now, just enjoying that moment. And the people that got off before me, that's their stop, that's their destination, and I'm still going. And these people will jump on board, and those people are the right people. And then we'll see if these two people are there in the last train ride at nighttime at 11:55. Those are the people I'm gonna share that road with them, and I make sure we all safe and we get to where we need to go safely.
I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect that, especially because to continue with your train analogy. Yeah. Often you get off the train just because someone else has.
Yeah.
You know, like you'd rather have companionship than follow your own truth.
Yeah.
When I say you, I mean me. In this situation, like there's a lot of times where the feeling of loneliness can be so scary that instead you kind of change who you are so you can have somebody around. But it feels liberating when you can continue to stay on the train, not worried if you're going to be alone. It's going to be okay, and just wait for the right people.
Oh man,
I think that is one of the secrets.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and also it's one of the best recipe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But it requires you to be okay for long enough and be alone for long enough.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, right?
Man, it is. It is. Oh, man, I'm telling you, man. This year, for me, only God knows, man. I'll be through a lot, man. Like physically, emotionally, mentally, you just name it, whatever.
Yeah.
You know. I was in Egypt earlier this year, and then I was detained at the airport for like, I think it was like 5 hours or something.
Oh, what?
Or even longer, for me doing a music video at the pyramids. Shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got arrested?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And took my passport and everything. And then after they let me go, went back with my friends to try to catch the plane. And then they're like, no, the plane is delayed. Tomorrow we come back again. They're like, well, you guys don't have the visas to go to Kenya. We're like, okay, we'll stay for another night until we get the visas right. So we did that, went to Kenya. I don't know what we were doing that day. Oh yeah, sorry. I went to the hospital because I had like food poisoning. So I think that's the first one. And then after the hospital, we were walking out the street and we were about to cross to the other side. But a motorbike came, hit me, boom. I flew, and all I can remember is like, you're a sport person, try to land correctly. So exactly that's what I did. I landed correctly, rolled over to the other side, stood up. And then the motorbike guy looked at me, he's like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I am okay. Sorry, what is your name? Just
gone.
Rode away, yeah. Then again, I'm trying to make sense out of this. Went to South Sudan for some weed journey. It was beautiful. I needed that, but it was weird because we were with the music group, but at the same time trying to like figure out like my family side, and that didn't work. Found myself in Kenya. Again, coming to Australia. We missed the plane by like 5 minutes. And then the whole world just shut down, because I'm like, what I'm going to do here and who's here, and my visa is finished and all of those things.
Yeah.
Come back, after fixing the issue, came to Australia, mentally break down because I needed to figure out like what just happened in the trip that I was in. And then that took long. And then when that took long, my car got broken into like 2 times. I sold that car. Things just started to just crumble, And then in top of all of that, I just keep telling myself, oh, you're great, keep going, you've got the resilience. But it wasn't the case. It was me trying to let everything go and just be present at this time, at this moment. And then when that happened, everything started to just be in a place, and I started to be okay. And I started to, I started to believe myself again. And I started to talk myself not up, down. And what I mean by that is like, I've been speaking to myself so much like, you're successful, you're great. And those words I hear from other people as well, but not down, like as you're not great. And that, it just messes up with my head. As you don't look good. Even though I know that I look fresh, I look cool. I'm like, nah, man, this is not good. Or sometimes I just wear some weird ass clothes, trying to make myself somebody else, not myself. But somehow I find myself, this is me, like me coming today, and people just appreciate me from being myself, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So coming back to that train ride, so that's how it was when I was in the train, with different people, different situation, and different network and different stops. But now I think, yeah, I'm in the mountain.
You're cruising.
Yeah, cruising to the other side, to the other side, which is beautiful. And then this podcast as well, when it came, I wasn't ready to talk to the world, and I wasn't ready to even participate in any radio, any TV, or anything. I didn't want to. Yeah, I just didn't want to expose my truth. I didn't expose this human, but I was exposing the depressed guy. I was exposing the guy who always being talked up, but he always feels down. But as soon as I flipped it and I started talking myself down, I'm actually up, and I don't need anybody else to tell me that I'm good and I'm great. This morning I'm like, I look good.
I mean, it's really cool to hear that, man, because it is. I personally think it's really powerful. I've spoken about this before, but I'm not always an advocate for just the talking up to yourself, like I'm the best, I'm amazing. When you don't feel like that, I've never found that works for me. I've found just telling the truth to yourself. It's like, man, maybe you're not there yet right now, but that's all good.
Yeah.
But like, let's just start from the bottom.
Yeah.
Take a good assessment of what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not as cool as you want to be right now. Maybe I'm not the man I want to be right now, but at least I know where I'm at. So I can start moving, and I think that there's something super powerful in that.
Oh, man.
Super powerful in that. So it's really cool hearing that.
Yeah, 100%. So last Monday, I went to ACU graduation, and one of the head lecturer was saying that the word graduation or graduate, it's coming from the Latin, and it means simple. Steps. It's like that's what the word is.
Simple steps.
Yeah,
right.
You know what I mean? So when we are in grade 1, we graduate to grade 2, 3, 4, 5. We go all the way to year 12. We graduate. We go to university. We graduate. Some people, they get engaged. They do graduation. So all of these steps, that we take, it's all success. But somehow the place of where the graduation is completely different from the reality that individual lives in. So some people will go to university to go and graduate. Some people, they graduate from the street, but they're not getting a word from it. Some people graduate to become soccer players, and some basketball players, and some doctors, and all of those things. But at the same time, the word mean, those steps, So we all take those steps each day. And we're supposed to be congratulate ourselves each day as well. Because it's not just when we tell people, or when we hold like a certificate and we're like, congratulations, and then we're happy. But those little steps, it goes into that one piece of document that you just put up in the in your room. And then what? Are you gonna stop there, or are you gonna continue?
Got to keep it going.
Yeah. So that's what I've learned. And then now I'm in a place where I'm learning. So I haven't graduated yet. So
still stepping.
Yeah, still stepping. So I'm learning, and I'm student of okay, I'm not going to say the world. I'm a student of Australian culture. So I need to learn as much, whether it's the history of this country that I live in, or the people, or connect with the land properly.
Well, our culture's changing. Our culture's changing so rapidly
Ah, man,
at
yes.
the moment. So I don't know if it's more about learning the culture or you know, my perspective right now is contributing to it. You know,
Contributing to the culture.
Like there's a collective story going on right now, and really that's how all of us orientate ourselves in society. It's a collective story, and everybody's got the ability to contribute to that story. You know, and I'm excited to see what you contribute.
Oh man, yeah, my contribution. My contribution. I want to make sure I graduate in the right place. You know what I mean? And then that will becomes not a refugee story anymore. It becomes Australian story from a refugee lens. And that's beautiful. So yeah, I think you're right. We need to contribute to that collective story and unifying that voice, that journey for all of us to kind of like heal. Apparently, we're 27 million at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how we got there, but I'm sure during COVID, everybody was busy.
Everyone was getting it done.
Yeah. So that's what I learned. So you see, like I learned graduation, and then I learned that we 27, and then tomorrow I might learn something completely different.
Got to keep learning.
Yeah.
Well, man, thank you so much for coming in and having a chat. I know next to nothing about the history of Sudan at all, right? So it's really awesome to have you come in and actually give me a little bit more insight and teach me a few lessons, which is good. So I appreciate that, man.
Not a problem.
And I'm super. I think that the space of storytelling fundamentally, but whatever format that comes in, whether it's a book, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a movie, whether it's a short film, whether it's a podcast, that's one of the biggest mechanisms for speaking and communicating to the general public. And
100%.
I'm super interested in how it happens, because I hate it when it's used for the incorrect means and the incorrect goals, but when it's being used for positive goals, I'm a massive supporter of it. So thank you so much for coming in. I'm excited to see this book at some point in the future and see what you do and keep watching your stuff. Yeah,
thank you. Thanks for having me. It has been great just to be here in this space, and also allowing me to share my views, my opinion, my perspective freely, and also just to kind of like support me and guide me, because sometimes I can just drill and go all over the place.
That's
and letting me be myself, because that's what I want everybody just to do, just to be themselves. So yeah, thank you. And I've got like a small little gift for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's go.
There's a Reno.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah.
We got a little rhino here.
Yeah.
Can I keep this? I'm going to keep this in here so it can just be as a part of the setting.
Oh, nice.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man.
No worries. Thank you.
We can leave it here for anyone. Yes. Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, bro. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It was awesome to establish this connection, and I'm happy to continue it. And we'll get Jono. How we met is through a guy named Jono, who's a legend. And
Shout out, Jono.
We're going to get him here on the podcast too.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Awesome. Let's wrap it up. Thanks, man. And thanks, everybody. Peace out.